Welcome back to my channel for a short Hasselblad episode, and let's hope it really will be short. I'm not so sure yet because I'm currently working brute force and will just kick off this video session. So this video will again be about flash photography. I recently posted a video how to shoot with a fully fledged tutorial the Hasselblad X2D II with a Profoto A2 flash. And the video, I think, got some quite nice resonance on the channel and in the community. And a lot of people said, yeah, Profoto always works with Hasselblad cameras, but we have difficulties with GODOX. And GODOX was kind enough to send to me for free this brand new flash. Is called the iT32. So I'm very happy to have it here. And they also sent me two adapters. One here is for Nikon cameras. That's this one. So this one belongs to the Hasselblad X2D II then, because the hot shoe here is compatible with Nikon flash. And this one here is for Fujifilm cameras. Drop me a comment and let me know if you also want to get some insights on flash photography with Fuji GFX cameras like the RF or the 100 Mark II. I'm happy to look into that and provide you some data points and insights. So what I want to do in this video is I want to unbox quickly the flash. We'll get familiar with it. We'll mount it then on the Hasselblad X2D II with that adapter here, which was in the box. And we'll see if GODOX really is so much more difficult to operate on a Hasselblad X2D II than it is with a Profoto A2 flash, as I showed in this video back then. Let's kick this off. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please do so, subscribe, hit the notification bell, support my work. Many thanks for that. All right, I think we should unbox this GODOX iT32 now, maybe having a look at the packaging. Pretty non-eye-catching. Here we get some data points, separate triggering, TTL auto flash. Let's see how the Hasselblad X2D II in terms of TTL logic cooperates with that iT32. It's 2.4G wireless. It's a colorful touchscreen. We see this already here on the presentation, on the packaging, and magnetic effect Eki. That is something we'll explore in the course of the video. And then we have the adapter here. I think this is the one for Nikon. Yes, this is the one for Fuji. As I said, let me know if you want to see this flash also in action on a Fuji GFX camera. And let's open the adapter. Let's have a look here. And here we see the electronic contacts that is going into the hot shoe of the Hasselblad X2D II, because that hot shoe is compatible with Nikon flashes. And then we can, of course, now open the packaging for the flash. Let's see how this works. I guess it is here. Let's see what's inside. Anything to fold? No. Here is, I don't know, is this a manual? Yes, it's a little bit of a manual here, but very short. So far in Chinese. Looks at least to me like Chinese. I'm not capable of speaking Chinese. And here we have the English manual here, where we see that this flash actually works with Canon cameras, Nikon cameras, Sony cameras, Fujifilm cameras, and OM system cameras or Panasonic cameras. And that's why they ship you for the respective camera model these adapters here, which is super convenient, I guess, because then you can just work with one flash, get familiar with it, understand it, shoot it. And if you change camera, you only have to change that tiny little adapter, which sits between the flash and the hot shoe of the camera. So that is a really good system, I think. And then we get some instructions here. Not super interesting, I guess, but I'll have a look into that later. Whoa, this is tiny. Look at that. Really tiny. Terrific. Looks good. Look here. Very compact, actually. And it looks to me like this is magnetic and it just snaps in. Have a look. Boom. That's it. Very simple. You need significant force to get it out again. The magnets are very strong, but here are the contacts. Here are contacts, and then you just click it or snap it in, and it sits very, very strongly here. Look at that. I need significant force to pull it out. And that's the way it works. The flash is very compact, has a color display here, which is good, control elements, all of that. I suggest I'm going to mount it now on my camera, and then we take it from there. Well, maybe before I mount it, let's quickly have a look what else is in the box. So this is just protection material. Let's see what we have here. Now the box is empty, you see, nothing left inside. And let's see here, this looks to me like a pouch. Yeah, there's a pouch, fine, GODOX on it, that's the brand. It's a bit big, I think, for my taste. I would have made this smaller and probably more protecting the flash, but it is what it is. And then what else do we have here? Here we have a flash stand. So you can mount the flash and place it on a table or some other surface. And here we have, I guess, some color filters. They will be magnetic too. Let's have a look. Yes, see, here are magnets. You just clip this on. Very convenient. This whole magnetic design here is very likable, I think. Look at that. Looks good. Then we can unclip it. And we have here another one. Looks to me kind of like the same, but doesn't matter. Let's see. This also clips on. Very good. See if there's anything else in the box. Yes, of course, a diffuser. The diffuser very likely goes on the flash like this. Let's see. That's the way. We can just clip it on. And then you get a more diffuse light, which is always recommended, in particular if you shoot people. And then we have here a USB-C to USB-A cable, and that's it. So that's all that was in the box. I'm curious to try this out, really, because people really gave me the challenge. They said, we liked your video about the Profoto A2 and also the tutorial I provided with it, the insights into the TTL logic of Hasselblad-X cameras. I'll post a link down below in the info box. If you have not seen it, please have a look yourself. But they challenged me in the comments and said, you made your life too easy because you did shoot with Profoto equipment, and with GODOX, it's much more tricky, much more difficult, and basically not handleable. So I will try out now how this all works, and maybe I find a way, or maybe they have, with the newer flash, found a way to get this working without any flaws on my Hasselblad X2D Mark II. So let's now go step by step through the functions of that iT32 from GODOX. And the first functionality I want to demonstrate is the versatility we get from these magnetic triggers here, or transmitters. Look at that. I showed this before, and I've here now unboxed the same one, which is the X5F. That's the X5N for Nikon. That's the X5F for Fuji cameras. And I have here my GFX 100RF. Let's get the cover from the hot shoe. Let's mount this here. And then we need to screw it in this way, so it will not accidentally slip out of the hot shoe. This is solid like a rock now. And now if I have a shooting with different cameras, for instance, and that happens, by the way, a lot in my profession, then you don't have to unmount the flash if it is mounted on the Hasselblad and remount it to the Fuji. You can just use the magnetic functionality here, get one adapter off and magnetically clip it on the other camera. And that is, of course, very versatile. I think, and I mentioned before when I unboxed this all, this is a great functionality, great flexibility. So you can use the very same flash for all kinds of different camera systems. And that is very convenient, of course. And by the way, I think it looks good. It's not a massive flash. I think the guide number is 18, if I looked this up correctly in the specifications. So it's enough as a fill flash. It's enough for portraits and people shootings. It will not illuminate a whole church if you're a wedding photographer, but it will help you big time in all the tiny little flash assistance you might need in your shooting, and it fits conveniently into your pocket. Concerning this wireless flash trigger here, in a recent video, my friend Chris with no H, also on YouTube of course, said the following. Let's listen to what he has to say.
magnetic hot shoe mount, the X5, and that can be used across different brands. You can use it with Sony, Canon, Nikon, Olympus, and Fuji, and I wish they would make a mount for Leica. I said it many times, I keep saying it. GODOX, please give us a Leica mount so we can use this flash in TTL mode using Leica cameras. That is the ultimate, the last thing that we need to make this a perfect flash for all brands.
So it seems to me like 2 months ago, there was really no such X5 trigger available for Leica cameras and for the Leica hot shoe. And now it seems to be available. B&H says coming soon. So Chris, you did a great job. GODOX listened to you, and now we can also operate this wonderful flash just by unsnapping it on my Leica SL3 and all kinds of other Leica cameras with the Leica hot shoe. All right, so far so good. Many camera systems, including Leica very soon, are fully compatible with that iT32. So let's get the trigger clipped on again, and let's mount this to my Hasselblad X2D II. Let's push it into the hot shoe. Let's screw it on firmly. And what I want to do now is, of course, I want to show you some of the functions of the flash, how it is working, what you can do with it. I will do this here in the studio with my always very patient photo model Yennefer. And the lens I'm using for the demonstration is the XCD55, one of my favorite lenses in the Hasselblad-X system. But tonight we are going to a restaurant with friends and family, so I will take this camera lens flash combination with me and will also provide you in the course of the video with some sample shots, of course, so you see how this flash on the Hasselblad X2D II is performing in real-life shooting situations. How do you switch the flash on? Well, you press and hold that button here, and then you can swipe up here, and then you are immediately in shooting mode. Simple like that. I do not intend to provide a fully fledged tutorial on all the functions of the iT32, but I want to give you a flavor how it works. And you have control elements here. You have a menu button here. Let's push it, and let's push it again. I go back into shooting mode. We have a set button here. We have a test flash here. Let me fire this so you see it. You saw it flashing. Let's do it once more. So we have all kinds of functions here. We have a mechanical control wheel here where we can dial in the intensity. You see how this is updating here in the display. And we also have here, if we go into the swipe mode, so if I swipe down, it's the same effect as if I go and tap the menu button here. We can swipe further. We come to controlling the wireless functions and all of that. We have here settings, for instance, screen standby. Let's go into that. I can now dial in here a different setting, but I can also do this via touch functionality. If you look here, I think 3 minutes is fine for me for screen standby. If you want to go back, you press the menu button again, or you swipe. Auto off, you can dial in here all kinds of settings. So I think that's overall nicely done, and that it is a color display is also convenient. Before I showed you that the flash is firing, let's do this again. Test button here, and now let's see if the shutter release button of the Hasselblad X2D also can trigger the flash. So let's point this in this direction so you see the flash. And yes, it's flashing. Have a look. Will not be a pretty picture, but it is flashing. That's good. Now, what we want to have, of course, is we want to shoot the X2D II in TTL mode with that flash. So let's do a couple of settings here. And the first one I want to do is I want to go to autofocus continuous. Then I want to go to human detection. And now we should get Yennefer's face detected. Here we go. There she is. And we can fire the flash now. I also dialed here in the base or native ISO of the Hasselblad X2D II, which is an ISO of 50, and I'm in aperture priority. Let's dim the light down so we really can make use of that flash. Let me get the light down here in the studio. And let's shoot Yennefer. Half pressing the shutter button, face eye is detected. That's all good. Let's fire. And yes, you see, this is actually a quite nice exposure. Let's have a look here. Let's double tap. And Yennefer is sharp and in focus. This looks good. And I think also the brightness is right. If I would not like the brightness, I can anytime increase intensity here or decrease intensity here. So there is always, even in TTL mode, of course, fine adjustment of the strength of the flash possible by using this dial or by using my fingers. You see, this is also working with touch functionality. I prefer the control wheel here. This is always better for me. I'm more a mechanical control person than a touch control person. Let me quickly demonstrate to you how this works with the intensities here. And I would call it flash exposure compensation. I can do this with touch functionality minus in 0.3 steps. Back to 0. I can also, as I showed you before, do this in a very quick shift in one or the other direction via my finger by swiping, and I can do it via the control wheel here. And let's go to the correct setting here for the time being. Now we fully rely on TTL logic, so let's fire at Yennefer. And this is a nice shot. Correct exposure, as you see. Now let's overdo it. Let's go here to +3, and then this will be hopelessly overblown. Have a look. You see, this is correct TTL logic. This is override by +3 from me as the one sitting behind the camera. Let's now do this in the other direction. Let's go here all the way down to -3. And let's take another shot. And here we go. So correct exposure, you see her face is bright and well set in scene. This is overblown and this is a bit darker if you compare the two here. I hope you see the difference. And in this way you can fine adjust what the TTL logic is communicating from the camera to the flash, and the way this is then providing light intensity towards Yennefer. I think we discussed on my video back then on the Profoto A2 that this is on a logarithmic scale, and that basically means if I go here to +1, just to make one example, I double the intensity in terms of brightness coming from the flash. I switched now into fully manual mode, so from aperture priority to M mode here. I'm still on autofocus continuous and human detection. I want to take a shot widest open with this lens f2.5 and an ISO of 50 and 1/100 seconds. Let's see how this plays out. Let me take a shot. I think this looks good. Let's crop in. Yes, sharp and in focus. I think the light is right and correct. And now let's see if the TTL logic in the way this flash is wired up with the camera is reacting to changes in the light triangle parameters. So let's go to an ISO of 100. This is one full stop brighter. And let's therefore make the shutter speed here one full stop faster. So we go here to 1/200 seconds. Let's see what exposure we get. And what we see here, that this is quite consistent in the way I would expect it from a flash that's steered by in-camera TTL logic. Look here. This is the first shot, f2.5, 1/100 seconds, ISO of 50. And this is the second shot, looks exactly the same in terms of brightness. And the second shot had still f2.5, but 1/200 seconds, so one full stop faster and one full stop brighter on the ISO from ISO 50 to ISO 100. Now, I do not intend in this video, like I did in my video on the Profoto A2, to do all kinds of test series and walk you again through the way a Hasselblad X camera is steering a flash. I think I provided that video. If you want to dive deeper into the topic, please have a look into the video. I'll post a link in the info box. But it is proof of concept that this is actually working. And I think, of course, if you want to go into manual mode here, you swipe down or you press the menu button, you can change this to manual mode. Let's go back here. And then we can steer here the intensity fully manual, but that's very likely not what most people want to do if they purchase a TTL flash. You really want to do this. Let's go back here into TTL logic by using the intelligence which is implemented in the camera body and the way the camera is communicating with the flash, of course. All right, this video is already getting longer than I've planned, and I also want to show sample images. Let me show you a few more elements. And I showed you already that you can remove the flash easily and place it on another camera where you also have the trigger in the hot shoe. But you can also shoot this flash, of course, by holding it in your hand. You know, you can also give it to someone else in his or her hand to basically point at your subject. And of course, you have all the functionality here in the usual way. You can point this upwards, you can turn it here. You have all kinds of flexibility in that. You can also use the flash and place it on an even surface by using the stand I showed at unboxing. Let me show you. You just clip this on. The magnetic functionality is here. Very strong magnets, and let's say you want to point it upwards to Yennefer's face. You can also use this stand with the trigger because there is a hot shoe mount here, as you can see. So there is so much flexibility in this kit, in this flash set, that there are kind of almost unlimited possibilities how you can shoot that flash. And I think that is all pretty nice. Coming back to handheld flash photography, I would probably do it like this and just hold it here. And then you can have the camera in the other hand and basically shoot like this. Is convenient, for instance, if you have, for instance, the camera at waist level, let's say using the LCD with a tilt. And then, of course, you can lift this up a little bit to be on eye height of your subject, what have you. There are so many options, possibilities, what you can do. By the way, if I have the flash unit remote to the X5 and trigger here, I can steer it on the camera, which is convenient because if the flash is placed somewhere remote from me as a shooter, I can still steer it via buttons on this trigger here. And have a look here, I can increase my flash exposure compensation. I can decrease it. I hope you can see it. And I can also switch by holding here into manual mode. Now it's in manual mode. If I press and hold, it goes back into TTL mode. And I see then here, for instance, if we go here, I see here that I'm now in a mode where the flash unit receives signals from the transmitter. And if I place this back onto the transmitter, it will change back into the TTL mode and the display representation you are used to. And you see this also with a different icon than here. So there are a lot of things I could show, but then the video would probably get a duration of more than 2 hours. And I will stop here now and want to show you some exposures, live exposures in Zurich when I was with friends and family in a restaurant and outside of the terrace. We have a couple of smokers in the group. They want to have before dinner their first drink with a cigarette. And I was using the opportunity to take some shots to show you some real live sample images shot with that camera lens flash combination. Okay, let's go into sample images and let me explain, give you a little bit of context. So we were supposed to have dinner in a restaurant with friends and family. And as I said before, people like to start on the terrace with a drink, a couple of them with a cigarette, but it was freezingly cold. And the ladies had, I would call it, a limited mood to pose for me and being my shooting subjects for testing that 55 XCD with the X2D Mark II and the flash, the GODOX iT32. So I had to be very quick. So these images are nothing to write home about, but I think they prove that the flash really works on the camera. I was shooting in TTL mode. I did not do any overrides on flash exposure compensation. I was just letting the camera and the flash do its thing. So let's start with the first exposure. This is shot at an ISO of 50, base ISO 1/100 seconds, widest open. And you see the flash has not a very wide reach. Everything in the background, and there was quite a distance between the lady here in the foreground and the background, everything in the background is quite dark. And that is probably due to a guide number of 18. But if I crop in here to 100%, wow, this is sharp, good. And the light is even and nicely falling onto the face of my model here. I think this is really cool. From a lighting perspective, the flash fully delivered. I had no issues at all. As I said, I didn't even touch the flash. I just mounted it. I didn't tweak any settings. It was just working in TTL mode like a charm. Let's go to the next one here from the side, and still widest open, background still very dark. And you see here, this is nailed on the eye. Very, very nice. Very well done by this camera lens combination with the GODOX flash. Same story here, looks really good. I want a little bit rush through these images because I was taking too much time with that video anyway. Look here, looks really, really good. And I can continue in this way. This is really the right exposure. And the camera always did send correct signals to the flash via its TTL logic. No tweaking on the flash at all. So coming back to what a couple of people told me in comments, GODOX flashes don't work for them on Hasselblad X cameras. I'm not so sure, because here it worked, and this is a cute image, I think. You see how cold it was, and she's really hiding deeply inside her jacket, her coat here. And look how the eye is nailed, how sharp this is, and how good this looks. It's not a lens test, so we don't talk about contrast, micro contrast. We really talk about lighting here. Here another profile, mood was fading out. People wanted to get back to their drinks and then to dinner, but it looks really good. Switching ladies, we had 2 ladies in the group. Here is another one, and look at that. This is so well done by the camera. The autofocus system is continuous autofocus, of course, is human detection. This is very, very good. And the lighting the GODOX flash provided here is spot on. I have absolutely nothing to complain. Look at that here, and I'm repeating myself. The background is typically dark because the guide number is 18, and if there is a decent, let's say, distance between the model's back and the background, it's pretty dark. But you see some lights indicated, beautifully rendered, widest open at f2.5. And again here, this is sharp, crisp, and the way the face comes across in terms of tonality, colors, you know, the light is just coming in the right amount towards the face. I think this flash camera lens combination really delivers. Here she was smiling, she was looking forward to dinner, and look at that. This is really good. Of course, we have a little bit of reflections, you know, female human beings, they use cosmetics and they sometimes are a little bit shiny, but it is absolutely fabulous how the flash is brightening up the scene here in front of me. This looks really, really good. Here she was in leaving mood. She said, I'm done. I've been a subject long enough. I want to get back to my drink and then to dinner. And she's absolutely right. Look at that. This looks really good. So all in, I'm very happy with that flash. I will keep it. I will shoot it. It works on the Hasselblad X2D Mark II very well. No overrides, as I said, for all of these images. Didn't touch any settings on the flash, just put it in TTL mode, balanced it and level metered it at 0 on the intensity or flash exposure compensation, and went on with my shooting. And all these exposures are correctly enlightened by the flash despite the darkness of the environment. All right, that's kind of all I wanted to say and show. What I forgot to mention, of course, the flash can be operated in groups. It has a multi-mode. Let me quickly show you here. If I go here, TTL, this is the manual mode. I showed you that. This is the multi-mode. You can trigger the flash via wire and 2.4 gigahertz. You can flash it here via photocells, so the flash realizes when the master flash is fired. It can also distinguish between the standard mode, where it fires as soon as it sees the master flash firing, and if the master flash has a pre-flash, it fires not before the main flash of the master flash is fired. So there are lots of other functions. You can shoot this in groups, you can steer it to shoot other flashes, or you can get it triggered by a master flash. So a lot of versatility and really a professional setup for, I should say, a very compact flash. This flash is not heavy, this flash is very compact, this flash is very versatile in the way it can be combined with different triggers. And as I mentioned earlier in the video, I'm very happy that the Leica SL trigger, the Leica hot shoot trigger, will be available very soon, and I will ask GODOX to send it to me and maybe make another video, a follow-up video, where I show you how it is shooting this flash on my Leica SL3 reporter. If you liked that video, don't forget to drop me your thumbs up. Stay tuned on my channel. There's always more to come. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and healthy. And of course, peace out.